The in-depth interview, or IDI, is a qualitative research method. It relies on a loosely structured one-on-one conversation designed to extract a deep level of individual insight. These sessions usually last anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, or even longer. That extended time frame is required to properly explore a subject, allowing the researcher time to move past superficial answers. This diagram compares two research approaches. Quantitative surveys measure the breadth of a market by collecting thousands of shallow data points. On the right, the qualitative IDI does the exact opposite, sinking a single deep vertical probe into an individual subject's motivations. Researchers use this qualitative approach as a diagnostic tool. You have to uncover exactly why people behave the way they do before you can build a large-scale survey to measure how many people share that behavior. Market researchers often weigh IDIs against focus groups. While bringing 5 to 10 people together generates a useful synergy, those groups are vulnerable to groupthink and the contamination of the discussion by dominant respondents. Individual interviews become strictly necessary under 3 conditions: when the target audience is geographically scattered, when the topic involves sensitive issues like personal wealth or hygiene, or when the researcher needs to track a single person's narrative from start to finish. This chart shows individual speaking time between methods. In a 90-minute focus group, a single participant only speaks for about 10 minutes. In a 45-minute IDI, that single respondent has 100% of the floor time. That dedicated time guarantees a pure view of consumer attitudes. The answers recorded in an IDI are entirely free from the social pressure and influence of other participants. The success of this method relies heavily on the interviewer. They have to act as a highly skilled instrument, using a flexible discussion guide rather than a rigid script, and spending far more time listening than speaking. This graph shows a respondent's emotional state. Anxiety peaks at 2 to 3 minutes. Warm-up questions manage this, causing anxiety to drop sharply by minute 5. The interview then enters a stable plateau of comfort, where open-ended probes flush out the real story. By managing this psychological arc, the interviewer turns a formal inquiry into a carefully choreographed conversation. While face-to-face interviewing remains the gold standard for building rapport and reading body language, it requires significant travel and resources. Telephone interviews offer a highly efficient alternative, capturing much of the same data at roughly 1/10 the cost. Because an IDI generates a massive volume of unstructured data, often thousands of words of free text per person, sample sizes must remain small. Researchers typically limit these studies to between 10 and 30 respondents. Even with those constraints, 30 interviews are generally sufficient to map all the relevant variables and distinct perspectives within a target audience. By prioritizing individual context over broad measurements, the in-depth interview uncovers the complex psychological and cultural signs that numbers alone simply cannot reach.